Hey everyone, it's Marnie, and today I want to talk to you guys about where I get my ideas. So, I'm going to actually take you back to Awkward and how that one came about. At the time, I was actually trying to do publicity for my autobiography, Marnie, and I was finding that incredibly difficult just because whenever you're telling someone that they should want to buy your stuff, it just gets so awkward. It really does. There's no subtle way to sneak that into a conversation. You can't be like, "Hey, buddy, you know what you should do? Buy my book." That should happen. And then the worst question anyone can ask is "Why should I read your book?" Which is a fair question, but then you're stuck going, "My mom liked it, I think. I don't know. It's funny to me." So anyhow, it's that whole process is really hard and really scary. So if you want to buy my book Invisible, feel free to do so. It comes out June 25th, but pre-order it now. Anyhow, I was stressing out over promotion, and I called up my mom and I was telling her how challenging I found this, and I had this epiphany that if this had happened in high school, it would have been the worst thing ever. My nightmare in high school was to tell people about my life. And yet, here I was just a few years later seeking out publicity opportunities. So I started thinking, well, what if I was the kind of person that my goal in life was to fly under the radar? And something happened. It totally wasn't my fault, but something happened. And now I was America's most awkward teenage girl. And that's where I got the idea for Awkward. So I tend to think of a, a happy scoopful of myself and my neuroses, and then a different twist on it. And how would this character react under these situations? So I can relate to all of my characters, but I just like to think that's because I have enough neuroses to go around. Um, and I like to push them. I like to put them in situations that test them. And so that's my goal with every book. Hopefully it works. Um, One other technique that I have that I find incredibly helpful, hopefully you guys will too, I have journals. And I'm addicted to journals at this point. I have way too many journals. I have journals I don't even use yet. I will use them um, eventually. But what I like to do is super geeky, and I love it. So this is the cover of Magical Mayhem. It's an anthology that I participated in, and I just doodled around it, but I want to give you guys a good sense of my doodles. And I do this whenever I am stuck on anything. But the best way for me to really work it out, is to do something like this. So this is also for my short story in the Magical Mayhem anthology, Epic Revenge. Ring! And I start by writing down some characters. So Hera and Zeus and Nemesis and Dolan, he's dreamy. And then I write some little factoids that I need. And a lot of times it's about their emotions or what they're going through or what's really important to them. So, for Nemesis, I wrote that she's the goddess of well-deserved ass-kickings. And I could get behind a heroine like that. That sounded awesome to me. And that Hera wants nothing to do with her. That was all I needed to know at the time. It's a short story. So I plotted out a lot of it, and I did that at coffee shops primarily. But it's nice to just try and decompress, and it's amazing what you come up with when your pen is just sort of wandering. So I use this technique now. I have used another technique before, and I found it incredibly helpful. I also wasn't supposed to share this with you guys, just because it gets a little embarrassing. And And by a little embarrassing, I mean like pretty darn embarrassing. So here's my secret journal of shame, which I am choosing to share with you all. So it starts out similarly enough. It's now called Decked with Holly, but at the time I was calling it Fomance. So I did my whole doodling plot swirl of awesome, and then I decided to cast it as if it were a movie, which it's not. But I would love it if it were. Anyhow, so I found pictures of celebrities on the internet, and I just went crazy, to be honest. I spent hours hunting for just the right photos. Like, I thought Logan Lerman would make a great Nick. So here he is in a Hawaiian shirt. I geeked out. For those of you who read Decked with Holly, I have a feeling that's really funny. It is to me. In an ugly Hawaiian shirt. So yeah, I have lots of photos to the point that I do look like a crazy stalker fan. I'm willing to admit this. But it really helped. Oh, I plotted out the route that the cruise took. So that was helpful. Just in order to get all the days straight. And just the general mood of wherever I was at in the novel process. And oh, here's Invisible. That makes me really happy too. So I hope this helps when you're attacking your awesome project of awesome. My last tip is just whenever it starts dragging at you, try and make something unexpected happen for your characters, or have them blurt out something that they shouldn't have said. I really enjoy that technique. I like following where it goes, and hey, you can always edit it out later. So I hope that helps. Talk to you guys later.